Alright guys, so I started this run of Hydra not recording the video because I really didn't expect for it to do as well as it's actually doing. So with that said, instead of rerunning the whole thing and retrying to actually record the run, I figured I'd jump in here right now to prove to you guys that it is being ran on full auto. Matter of fact, after this run finishes, I have the Hell Hades live updater running in the background as well. So I should be able to see my run over at the Hell Hades optimizer with the team suggestions. So if I do find team on Brutal right now, there is no Hydra team using the team that I'm using Gwyndolin at all, let alone a team that is full auto. So exclude manual teams. It's only showing teams that are full auto. So after I finish this run, we should be able to see my update, basically. We should be able to see my update as soon as I finish this run. I've never actually tested this before. I'm not really sure how soon it updates, but it should show it. At least I hope so. I've tested out other stuff before and it showed the updates relatively quickly. So what I'm doing, when I say full auto, I'm not meaning no clicking, walking away, getting some food, coming back, and it's good to go. What I'm doing here is I'm clicking heads every now and then, but to be honest, I'm not for sure it really matters. And there are so many different changes you can make to this team to make it even better that you may be able to do it on walk away, full auto, come back, and it's good to go. So what I have going on here is I have Inquisitor Shamel boosting the leader spot, which is Gwyndolin. Gwyndolin is, I think that's how you say her name, but Gwyndolin is placing the decreased speed, the decreased accuracy, increased accuracy for us, doing some block buffs and things like that, and if they have the conditions met. Essentially, that owl's going crazy, doing a ton of damage. I haven't actually seen the damage that she's doing yet, and I'm also really looking forward to seeing that for the first time with you guys, because watch these AoE hits. And she's doing a ton of these AoE hits because of her extra turns she gets, plus the relentless set that I have her in, giving her extra turns, and the fact that Inquisitor Shamel is boosting her. So I may have to pause this recording and come back once the run's actually finished, because it may go for quite a bit longer. Like, we're freeing the champions pretty quickly. She's hitting for 10k each time from the A1 ability, extra turn there, and I mean, it's crazy amount of turns that she's getting. Unfortunately, we got the poison cloud up on 2 heads, but as far as her AoE ability, she should be doing it in just a moment. I really want to see another head of torment so Inquisitor Shamel can boost her a bit more. But let's see. Okay, we got 9k over that, so a pretty weak hit there on the head of suffering on the far right. We have no decreased. We didn't have decreased defense, I don't think, at the time of her doing that. But let's see what she hits for now. 3 10k, so basically 30k, 10k over there. That head's going to make it difficult for AoE stuff because his passive decreases the damage all Hydra heads receive from AoE attacks, which is basically saying the owl is a little bit less impactful now. But you're going to see at the end of this how much damage she actually did. I think you're going to be impressed. I hope you're going to be impressed. I hope I'm going to be impressed, because I just now opened up a lot of void shards a few hours ago to actually get this champion. So she is fully booked. She's mastered all of that as well. But this team, the idea behind it is it's a team that's going to be relatively accessible for most players. We have Mithrala, who's a free champion from Hydra. We have Gwyndolin, who, if you're watching this video, I assume you have her. But she is a essentially guaranteed champion from the deck of fate currently. We have Mighty Uugo, who was a fusion a while back. We have Uugo, who I guess you'd have to open her from a shard, but she's just bringing decreased defense as well as block debuffs. She also brings some heals, but I'm going to get into that a little bit later on possible substitutions. And then Inquisitor Shamel. If you don't have Inquisitor Shamel, I know he was a guaranteed a while back, or at least I believe he was. But if you don't have him, you could use a champion like Rector Drath, a champion possibly like Duchess if you have a Duchess, just somebody to deal with the fears from the head of torment whenever you hit that, because you are going to have a lot of torment activations, getting a lot of fears on you, because you have a lot of champions doing a lot of AoE stuff. And then we have Artak on the far right. Both Artak and Mighty Uugo are running PV, like weird PvE masteries that are not War Master. So Mighty Uugo is actually running PvP masteries, so he doesn't have War Master, and Artak is running Ice Golem solo mastery, so he also does not have War Master. That's a big deal, because Leech, the debuff that the owl is placing, actually heals based on the damage you deal. If you have somebody proc War Master, you can see the heals that Gwyndolin gets once she gets a little bit lower in HP on a target who has Leech on them. She's going to be healing for a lot of damage, which is incredible if you have War Master. But if you don't have War Master, well, you're not getting those big heals. So Mighty Uugo and Artak both would be surviving far longer if I was able to get both of them into War Master. Now, we are getting to a little bit of a sketchy spot here. We have all the Poison Cloud heads up. Uugo was eaten, but the bird is doing a little bit of damage, maybe able to work that head down. I don't know. It's very, very close. Like I said, we don't have much War Master. We're missing it on 2. very, very crucial champions. And if you was to swap it off, it'd be a relatively easy run to complete as far as getting 1 key on Brutal. Can you push this a lot higher? I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever. You could push this quite a bit higher. Am I going to push this quite a bit higher today? No, I am not. So I'm not going to run this key fully. I'm not so much worried about how much the key can potentially do, but what I wanted to do is provide you guys a team and I guess a proof of concept that this champion can do a lot of damage in Hydra and may actually be worth you going for before the event actually ends. So I'm going to press end battle. We're not going to submit this key, but as far as the damage dealt, okay, I'm actually very impressed, and you guys can't see it, but get ready. Let's take a look at the other champions. This was unintentional, but she is hidden behind me. So Artak did 16 million damage. Everybody knows Artak does a lot. He doesn't have War Master though, so keep that in mind. If he had War Master, he'd be doing a lot more damage. Uugo doesn't have War Master also, very low damage. Uugo doesn't have War Master, very low damage. Mithrala is getting all of her damage from Hex, so it's looking pretty good at 10 million. Inquisitor Shamel, he is built to be a Mischief tank, so pretty slow, doing 6 million damage. And then, behind me, we have the Owl Champion herself, bringing in 18 million damage. But remember, that's not the only thing she's bringing to the team, not just damage, but she's doing pretty good at damage. She's also bringing in Leech, allowing all these champions to get a lot of heals. If they have War Master, if they don't have War Master, well, they're getting pretty low heals. Uugo, I do believe, has War Master. I don't actually know if she has War Master or not. But Mithrala is getting some good heals at 1.1 million. Inquisitor Shamel, 1.2 million heals. Gwyndolin, 2.7 million. And Artak and Uugo both would have been significant in heals if they would have had War Master equipped. Plus, this could have ran a lot further. So we're going to do free regroup. We're going to go over here to the Hell Hades website and see if it actually updated my team. Let's see, Gwyndolin. If it put a team here, that'd be awesome. Doesn't have the update just yet. That's not even... We are in rotation 3, right? Let's make sure. Hydra rotation 3. Yes, so we are in Hydra rotation 3. I do have the live updates enabled, so it may just be a few more moments, and it should be on there. Hydra rotation 3, boss damage, Gwyndolin. It was literally just now finished, so... I don't blame it if it's not updated just yet. So my team should be in here very soon if you guys want to check that out. But either way, let's go look at these champion builds and see what you're going to want to shoot for if you want to do this similar build. So up first, let's talk about the star of the show, I guess, is Gwyndolin. So she is Gwyndolin. Yeah, that's how you say her name, I hope. So she is in Perception plus Relentless, but she's not wearing crit damage gloves or HP percentage, which may be good, but we're going for some damage. So I'll start with the top row pieces, and then we'll work our way down. So weapon, helmet, shield. We're pushing some speed on her. Speed in Hydra is very important. You want to, the more turns you get, the more damage you're probably going to deal, right? Unless you're worried about keeping your buffs up all the time. That's where things get a little bit different. But there we go, chest plate, boots, and then the ring, necklace, and the banner. So I was testing out something with her to see if, once she was in battle, if the increased accuracy boosted her damage because of her passive ability. It doesn't. It seems like the accuracy she's brought in with, whether it's from a accuracy aura or just her base accuracy stats, that's how much is boosted onto her crit damage. So crit damage looks kind of low at first glance, but when you remember that for every 10 points of accuracy you have, you're getting an extra 1% of crit damage, which means if we were to take 333 and divide it by 10, it's going to be 33.3, which we add 33.3% to 189. We're just going to add 189. So we're going to have a total of 222. Ignore the 0.3, but 222% crit damage. This allows me to run a good amount of accuracy. I know she has increased accuracy, and if you're just trying to hit the accuracy numbers, that's great. But if you boost her accuracy, now you're able to have more crit damage coming from there. It makes the gearing a lot simpler, and it's more complicated if I actually try to explain this. So what I found to be the sweet spot for me, while hitting the number of speed that I'm looking for, while hitting 100% crit rate, and while also essentially getting a high crit damage and pushing the attack decent, this seemed to be the best strategy for me. Equipping crit rate gloves and then picking up accuracy wherever else I could versus gearing for crit damage or gearing for crit rate and having crit damage gloves. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you can follow along, but you can see the pieces of gear that I have and hopefully build your champion pretty similar, or just take what I'm sharing as some inspiration for your builds. Now, for actually Hydra specifically, she's a little bit higher stats, so keep that in mind. She is a little bit boosted there. I actually forgot about this. So as far as her skills go, her A1 attacks, basically like Vizier, has a chance of extending duration of all debuffs. Very good for things like Clan Boss for Hydra. It's nice, but it's not as impactful as her A2 and her A3. Her A2 places decreased speed and leech, and if the enemies are under 2 or more debuffs, also places decreased accuracy, which, guess what? They are under 2 or more debuffs majority of the time, so the decreased accuracy will be applied. And then her A3 is an AoE, increased accuracy, an AoE attack, and also increases accuracy of all allies, has a chance of stealing block debuffs from all enemies, and if a block debuffs is stolen, so say Head of Mischief steals it from one of your champions and now you strip it from them, well then you place block debuffs on those enemies, which is a pretty cool ability as well. But essentially, the increased accuracy is the main thing I'm relying on, as well as the AoE attack. But then her passive, we already talked about, gives you 1% of crit damage for every 10 accuracy you have, and then also grants an extra turn after this champion uses any 3 skills. So she's going extra turns from Relentless, extra turns from this. I don't believe those extra turns can stack, but she's getting a lot of extra turns. And then an extra 60 accuracy, which is going to be an extra basically 6% crit damage, if I understand it correctly. Like I mentioned, the increased accuracy does not take your 300 accuracy, turn it into 450. It does do that, but it doesn't make it now you have 45 extra crit damage. It's just the accuracy you go into the match having. From what I understand, from what I've tested, that's how it works. And then for the masteries, of course, I pick up some extra accuracy because the more accuracy I have, the more crit damage I'm going to have as well. So remember that. Pick up this accuracy, and it's essentially like getting an extra copy of the Keen Strike. And then we have War Master on her, of course. I need to have War Master because while she hits hard and does a lot of damage, War Master, she has AoE skills, so much AoE stuff, so many chances for War Master to proc. If you're doing Clan Boss, it may be worth going Giant Slayer, but for Hydra, I think War Master is just the way to go. So I'm spending most of the time talking about this champion. Let's go ahead and jump in and talk about the other champions as well. So now let's move over to Mighty Uugo. So my Mighty Uugo build is kind of trash for Hydra, to be honest. He's not in Provoke or anything that's adding any benefit to Hydra. He's not in War Master. Really, all he's here for is just his AoE skills, the increased attack, the res, all that kind of stuff. So it's nice, but other than that, he's not really bringing a ton of stuff. So as far as his stats go, I'll show you guys what's going on here. He has some pretty good stats in general. Dropped his speed a lot with the speed boots or the boots being taken off, so keep that in mind. And he doesn't have War Master. If you wanted this Uugo build to be much better, throw him in like Provoke set, add War Master there, and he is going to do worlds better than what my +2 Mighty Uugo is going to do. Speaking of, I'm going to put him back into his boots just to make his stats look a little bit better, but those stats before this is what he actually had. This build is one I like a little bit more. So next champion we're going to talk about is Uugo. My Uugo is actually not built that well either. She's just in a basic set, no Relentless, nothing like that. The HP is kind of low, so her heals are not that significant. She has kind of low-ish speed. Once you add in the Hydra battles, it's a little bit better, but in general, her stats aren't fantastic. She's just there for the block debuffs and the decreased defense and the heals. She's a great champion, brings a lot of good stuff, but you could make yours so much better. She doesn't even have War Master. I thought she actually did have War Master. In fact, she does not. So it would be so much more heals if she would have War Master as well as damage. So there's extra potential there to squeeze from Uugo. And the next champion, we're going to talk about Mithrala. So Mithrala is a champion who's kind of built pretty well for this. She's in regeneration, good HP, good defense, pretty fast. And Hydra specifically, she's very fast at 304 speed. Not needed, but that's just how she's built for mostly PvP and some different dungeons. But as far as her accuracy and resistance, it's at a good number. She has Brimstone, and then she does have War Master, in fact. So she was getting some heals from the Leech, which is excellent, right? And the next champion, let's talk about Artak. So Artak's in a build that is very good for Hydra. I literally swapped his build over specifically for this showcase because I needed a Provoke champion. This is not the build I use on Artak. However, every single thing he does is AoE skill. So if you're not having like a dedicated Artak build for, say, Ice Golem, then switch him over to this, but add War Master. Add War Master plus Provoke. He is going to be top tier, amazing for your Hydra runs because now he's placing Provoke, HP burn, activating HP burn, doing a lot of damage from the War Master being so consistent. He's just going to be such a good champion if you have him doing all of those different roles. So in this particular set, we have good accuracy. We have the accuracy aura as well as an increased accuracy buff. So keep that in mind. Those both do apply to Artak because, I mean, Gwyndolyn's going to be taking so many turns. She's going to keep increased accuracy up for everybody all the time. So the accuracy numbers you need is going to be significantly less than what the Hydra says it's required because you can basically count on, hey, I'm going to have a 50% boost to my actual accuracy numbers. So Artak, this is his build. Huge fan of this build. Makes things very consistent, very smooth, but there we go. He is in Miracle Heal. Not necessarily the best thing. Doesn't do a ton for Hydra. It does some, but we're not getting so many heals that it makes a massive difference, I don't believe. But it is nice to have, I guess. The last champion is Inquisitor Shamael. So Inquisitor Shamael was initially built for a Mischief tank, though he doesn't need that much resistance, to be honest, because we're decreasing their accuracy anyways. But he's relatively slow. He has okay crit damage. He's not built very well, to be honest. Basically, he's just kind of tanky, slow, high resistance. Plus, we have Blood Shield accessories, which kind of weird Mithrala gives shield anyway, so he's really not doing a ton outside of cleansing the head, cleansing the fears from the head of torment. So this is Shamael. He could be built so much better. He could be doing so much more. This team could be doing so much more in general. So this is the setup that I had. These are the presets that I used. And essentially what I'm trying to share with you guys is Gwyndolin. If you're having trouble keeping your champions alive in Hydra, this champion is going to be fantastic. The decreased speed, but also having a leech is so extremely helpful. Leech is a debuff that you don't know you're missing until you add it in. You realize, wow, that is a massive difference. Having leech makes it so much easier to actually keep my champions alive. It's really a night and day difference between having leech and not having it. Let's go over here and check to see if the Hell Haze Optimizer has updated my team yet. But yeah, having leech is so good. So we still don't have the update yet. It'll probably be updated fairly soon. I did do brutal. 100%, I without a doubt did brutal. Maybe I did nightmare. I don't think so, but there's only one team that I've seen so far. So maybe it's just going. Maybe it just takes some time to actually get updated. Loading suggestions. Okay, maybe it's my internet. Maybe it's not the Hell Haze website at all. Maybe it's just my internet. Let's see one more time. Brutal. Gwyndolin. Apply filter. Nope, still not there. Alrighty, well, no big deal. We'll go down to hard, see if it's in hard. Anybody has this champion used yet. I saw one person earlier, but that's the only person I saw. This guy right here did 1.5 million, so it's just testing it out, it looks like. But needless to say, Gwyndolin is amazing, can in fact be used in Hydra with some relatively free-to-play options as far as champions go. Don't look at the +2 Uugo and judge based on that because he was wearing no boots, so keep that in mind. But guys, with that said, I love and appreciate all of you. Hopefully you have some newfound success with this team. Go ahead and collect your 1 key brutal, 1 key hard, probably even 1 key nightmare, to be honest. But best of luck building this team. Hopefully, if you guys went for this champion, you won't regret it. I don't think you will. I think she's a very solid champion, especially if you're looking for her to perform well in Hydra for you. So guys, enjoy the rest of the, I guess, end of the year, and I'll see you all next year. Later.